Please, today what you need to do, if you didn't do well on your quiz, if you missed any, you can redo it, and I'm going to average your scores. And so for those of you that got like 20%, that means once we go over all these problems, you should be able to get a 65%. All right. Now, I'm not sure why you're getting so low of a score. Are you just, not paying attention to the other videos? Not trying on the homework fully, just putting down answers randomly? You need to do a better job, because these tests are going to count these quizzes as tests in the test grade. And we're going to do this after every single section to, just to see if you're getting the stuff and figuring it out, or just going through the motions. So try to do a better job with actually paying attention to the videos and trying on the homework problems, not just guessing at answers and asking me questions. None of you guys really ask me too many questions. So please, if you got questions, send them my way. All right, so let's take a gander at this first problem here. It says, what is a possible step for solving for x? Which means there's actually multiple possible steps for solving for x. You have to figure out which ones are in the sequence of steps that you would take in solving it, okay? So the first thing you want to do is rewrite this fraction as an improper fraction, okay? So notice this is a step, so you would click on this one. Now this might not be the only step. There's probably more steps that you need to click on. Alright, so that's the first step. Next step, you need to come up with a common denominator. So 2 and 3. Okay, least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So you multiply the first fraction by 3. Okay, so that becomes 33 6x. 33 6x. And this one, to make it into 6, you multiply it by 2. So it'd be 4 6x equals 37. Okay. Now remember, when I say multiply it by 2, you have to multiply, the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, and on this one, top by 3 and the bottom by 3. Okay. Next, now that the denominators are the same, you need to combine like terms. So this would become 37 over 6x equals 37. Okay. After that, to get rid of a fraction multiplied by a variable, this is the same as the inequality test. You multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, notice there's an equal sign here. Okay, so you have to do the same thing to the other side, multiply by the reciprocal. And the nice thing is the two 37s cancel out, and look what you have left as your answer. Okay, so hopefully you can see which ones to click. Okay, are those steps here the same as here? If not, don't click it. All right, let's go to the next problem here. All right, so Joshua sold his bike for 10% less than he paid for it. Okay, if he sold his bike for $585, how much did he pay for it? Enter your answer in the box. Okay, so this one you got to make an equation for. Okay, you're not just guessing here. So we'll go with P is equal to what he paid for it. So price Josh paid. Okay, I'll put price he paid. All right, so he's getting a 10% discount. This is the third example that I've showed you in a video where you are getting a discount here. All right, so you're starting with the price. Okay, you are discounting it 10%. So you're subtracting from the price 10%. All right, now 10%, if you put P minus 10, it would be like you subtracted $10. So you want to make sure to make that into a decimal, which is 0.10. You move your decimal point twice. And that would be like minusing 10 cents if you just did that. When you find 10% of a number, you need to multiply it by that number. Okay, so there you go. Oops, that's actually not correct. Let me erase that. Okay, so you're multiplying it by not the sell price, you're multiplying it by the original price that he paid, okay, which would be P, okay, so it's 0.10 times P, and it's equal to the price you sold it for, which is 585. Okay, so then you combine like terms, you get 0.90 P equals 585. Now you might be wondering how I got that. Remember, there's an understood 1 here. Okay, so you have 1 minus 0.10. Okay, so when you combine these two terms, you get 0.9p. And then your last step is just divide by 0.90, okay, or just 0.9. So divide both sides by 0.9. Okay, and I'm not going to figure out the answer because I don't have a calculator here, but that should be good enough for you guys to figure out the answer and put it in the box. All right, there you go. Okay, next problem. We're going to set up an equation for this little model and then solve it. Okay, they already gave you some of the steps here. Okay, so what are we adding to 4x? Okay, 4x and then 12x. Okay, these two combine equal 320. All right, the next step is you're combining like terms. 4x plus 12x is equal to 16x, and that's equal to 320. Okay, don't just guess here. It should make sense. This and this together equals 320. All right, and then you just divide by 16 on both sides for your answer. Okay, this next one. Solve the equation, enter your answer in the box. So you got to show some work and work it out, figure it out here. All right, so first we're going to start by combining like terms. That's the name of this lesson. You have to combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, so 3.5 minus 2.7. Okay, so I mean, if you can't do that mentally, just write it like this, or get a calculator. I mean, I said you could use calculators. You're borrowing here. So, you know, it's 1.8. Nope, not 1.8. 0.8. Sorry. I mean, I could do it mentally, but I just wanted to do that. Just a common mistake. Some people would forget to borrow and call it 1.8. All right. 0.8 z equals negative 6. Now, don't forget your negative sign here when you divide both sides. Okay, think about what a negative divided by a positive makes. Okay, so your answer needs to be a negative in here, and then I don't know what that is, but you know, you can use a calculator if you're not sure. Okay, you can try to divide it by hand too, a long way. All right, let's go to the next problem. Moving on, and got one more to go. Okay. Okay, so this one is probably the hardest one here. So let's take a little bit of time to figure it out. Tamika uses 6 1/9 inches of wire to make a necklace. Okay, so 6 1/9 to make one necklace, 3 1/3 to make a bracelet, and she's making sets. Okay, they're matching sets. So she uses this in all. Okay, so whenever it says like the total or in all, that's a key to make sure that part, the one side of the equal sign. Okay, so in all, it has to be equal to this. How many sets? Okay, so we'll use like S for number of sets. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit because that was a little sloppy, so I'm going to rewrite it up here, give me some more room to work. Okay, sorry, bear with me. All right, so she is using 6 1/9 inches of wire per set. Okay, so for like say 5 sets, you would multiply 6 1/9 times 5, but we're not using 5, we're using S. So it's 6 1/9 S. For a bracelet, okay, there's also S bracelets. Okay, so there's S amount of necklaces and S amount of bracelets. Okay, so a set has both a necklace and a bracelet. So anyhow, you would multiply the number of bracelets, which is the number of sets, times the number of inches each would use, and remember the total is 28 1/3. Okay, now dealing with fractions here, you got a couple ways you could do it. but you should probably make them all improper first. If you want to, you could change the denominators first. You really don't need to change the denominator on this guy because he's not getting added. It's just these two you have to worry about changing the denominator on. Okay? And the denominator would become a 9. So let's multiply this. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 1 is 55. So you have 55 ninths s. Okay? And this one here, it's going to be 10 thirds s. Now this one you might, you could make the fraction into 3/9 first. It might be easier to do it that way. And this one, 28 times 3 is 84, plus 1 is 85 thirds. And remember, this one you don't actually have to change the denominator because you're not adding it. These two, though, you have to have a common denominator. Alright, let's switch colors here, just so it doesn't blend together as I'm writing sloppy. Alright, so you have 55 ninths s. Okay, we're going to make this one into ninths. So you'd multiply the top and bottom by 3. So that'd be 30 ninths s. Okay, and this one is 85 over 3. Alright, combining these two terms, you would have 85 over 9. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so that's s, not 5. Okay, now remember how to solve these equations that have a fraction that's multiplied directly by a variable when there's no plus or minus sign. You multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal is 9/85. So just flip that fraction over. So that's 9/85. And guess what? These 85s, they can cancel out because they're diagonal. And 9 and 3, you can reduce the 9 divided by 3. That's just equal to 3. So the number of sets is equal to 3. Alright, so you can make 3 necklaces and 3 bracelets in all. Alright, hope this helped, and I hope you guys have a great day. Yeah, please send me some questions. Alright, work hard and we'll get through this here. Only another month to go, so hang in there. Bye-bye.